Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. Sadashiva-samarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryandam Vande Guru-parampara. Om Sakana Vavatu Sakana Punaktu Sakaviryam Karavahai Tejasvina Madidamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Good morning. So we are embarking by the grace of God to understand, to study together Isopanishad. That's called Isavasya Upanishad. In the last two sessions, we had a gentle introduction to that. And we established the purpose of studying and understanding, not only because it's a great opportunity for the humankind. It is to resolve the fundamental problem of our thinking, our inherent flaw of understanding the world, understanding the oneself, which we call it Adhyasam by Shankara. The Adhyasa Nivritti or Ajnana Nivritti or Avidya Nivritti is moksha. By doing that, we transcend the fictional distance of us from the truth to go away. The Samibhyam comes from the Padam Upa. For sure, Upani. By going near, it means becoming one with the truth. Shade, the Ajnanam is destroyed. Samsaram is destroyed. So that is the concept we saw. Now today we will a little bit more intro for the Isopanishad. I think the preparation is very important. Once we go to the text proper, then we can understand the context very well. So Vedas are many, right? Veda vai Anantam, infinite of the Vedas. And we know Veda is the knowledge for everything, including the worldly affairs, for the pleasures in this world and hereinafter. But how to comprehend this infinite depository of knowledge? And as we are limited in intelligence, Bhagavan Vyasa, the Parama Guru, took upon himself, by the grace of God, to consolidate or divide and group these Vedas into, as you know, these four parts. In fact, the word Vyasa, Vyasa means a butcher is called a Vyasa, you know. One who dissects and then groups it. Okay, you want this part of the body, or you cut it and give it to you. It's a Vyasa. Like that, he has done that. Why? Because this knowledge is not a knowledge that you can get from any other education. This knowledge is, in fact, Kumarila Bhatter, who is the great avatar of Lord Subramanya, he says, Praktakshena Animityava Astubhayona Bhutyate. It means Praktiksha Jnanam, Anumana Jnanam, that means what you see and what you get, what you infer, what you deduce in your mind, your intellectual capacity, all that you do, you can get through the other sciences. But Veda gives you enam vitanti Veda. Everything that is not achievable by this Pratyaksha Pramanam, Anumana Pramanam is coming from the Vedas. Well, you see where the mantras are talking about sometimes very normal thing about yajna. Yes, it does talk about objective things, but it also gives you knowledge which you cannot get from anybody else. Now, what is this knowledge that you can't get from anything else? Is it about God? It's quite easy to say, right? God nobody knows, so maybe the God is talks about. Then it becomes a very distant, right? God we don't see. If you are doing a job and things are going well for you, God doesn't come into your life normally. If you're not given that kind of a culture, you don't even care about the God. So if Vedas talk about the God, so be it. No, it talks about the Atma. With the word Atma, we are going to hear this word every time now. Please don't think Atma is something distant from you. Atma Jnanam is something about like Brahma Jnanam, about the God, Ishvara Jnanam. So something is esoteric, something outside. No, Atma means I, the self. Atma Jnanam, whenever you search the word Atma, you don't think of something external, think of yourself. It is about you, about I. So Atma Jnanam is about myself. Well, why is it esoteric? Isn't it about the God? It's going to say, what cannot be learned is God. Through all the Pratyaksha Pramana, all the Anumana Pramana, all the tools you have in the world, you cannot learn the truth about God or the truth. It's equally good that cannot learn about you, about I. Which book teaches about me? The books talks of biology, talks about my body. Psychology, to a certain extent, my mind. Because it's my body, my mind, it's my possession. But there is no science that can teach about who I am. Therefore, Atma is about oneself. So Atma Jnanam is about one's own self. If Vedas are giving Atma Jnanam, Vedas are not some esoteric stuff, something to be worshipped at a far distance. It is a Bible or it's a book, gospel, to unravel your true nature. Therefore, it is an essential way, pramanam, for every human being. Then why it is only in India? Why it is only those, some high-class Brahmins are talking about it? So-called high-class Brahmins. It so happened, the Veda mantras that gives you this supreme knowledge, which is reverberating everywhere, was able to be heard in a bhumi, in a place where there's a congregation of seekers. Probably those seekers, if they were in today's America, would have come there. Everything is Punya Bhumi. It so happened there are congregation of seekers looking for this knowledge, and they heard. They heard, and then they reverberate for others to hear. That's why Vedas is called Shruti. Understand? It is not a book of India, a book of Hindus. It is a universal knowledge, the knowledge of which cannot be got from anywhere else. Now, the need to know that knowledge does not arise very easily. It arises when you have the opportunity, when you have the boon or the grace of yourself, when you mature in your evolution in this embodied life, that you say, right, let me think about who I am. But in Sanatana Dharma, because it doesn't come naturally, this question, our ancestors have decided, let me impose this. You enjoy life, come to a point in time, let's call it retirement time, Vanaprastham, you start thinking about it. So it's an imposition on us to study, an intention for not to do certain things, but it is an open, trivial knowledge. That's the reason why Vyasa said, okay, this cannot go. It has to be transported. But because it is apurusheya, the mantras are dhvanis, shabdas, the arthas have been somehow imbibed onto this. So they treat it as shabdartha brahman. How they heard, it has to be maintained. That is why they trained certain people as a recording device. Those days, I mean, the best recording device even today is not a tape recorder. It is a human mind. No machine can match the human mind. So therefore, they train the best of the human beings for them to learn and recite. Learn and recite. Learn and recite. Don't need to know the meaning. The dhyanam they do, it's not that they understand the meaning of it. Many does the excellent dhyanam. It doesn't need to know, they need to know the meaning. They're not being taught. That will come one day. The meaning belongs to all. It is nobody's domain. But the responsibility to learn and reverberate, it's a very fine art of handling this surgical knife. So you get trained. So just to put aside that view that it is something Indian and elite classes text, Sanskrit, it's not a Sanskrit, it's Shabda. Sanskrit came from the Shabda, like all languages come from the Shabda. You could decode in French if you have the ability to produce the lipis or the letters for each one. You can do that. It doesn't matter. So Vyasa did this, and then he puts into the 4 parts: Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. And it is so different, so difficult. So he put them into different shakas. Shaka means branch. Okay, let's use the word shaka. Shaka is better. It's kind of a logical grouping of shaka. So you can take the whole Vedas. It is available today because Vedai, Vedavai, Anantam. Just don't think it's only 4. Innumerable. But Vyasa given us 4, put into 4 clusters. Rik, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. And learners say there are 1,180 shagas today. 1,000 shagas are in Samaveda. Some 21 in Rig Veda. 109 in Yajurveda. And 50 in Atharvana Veda. Of different sizes. So they have split that. Vyasa said, okay, I have to really manage this in the future generation to go. Then he appointed, for example, a rishi called Bailar, who was his disciple, and say, Baila Maharishi, take this Rig Veda, learn, and then propagate Rig Veda. Vaishampayana, you take Yajurveda, you go and propagate. Say Jaimini, please take Samaveda, you go and do that. Samandu, go and take Atharvana Veda. So the Paramaguru Vyasa, after consolidating this into thing, appointed this thing and say, let your lineage. Now, what happened? Okay. If they are not married, they are sannyasis because they want to go to Jnanam, then who is going to have the lineage of it? Therefore, this is the important insight. It's not just the sannyasis alone, or the sannyasis are going for redemption in their life. And in the spouses, they preach others. But who maintain dharma, who maintain the jnanam, sanatana dharma, is the grahastha. That's why the family life is very pious. In those days, you see this Puranas, they say they don't get a son, they go and do this practice. And we say, look, patriarchal society, why son is more important than the daughter? We still carry this. Unfortunately, it has become to the extent that people resented having daughters. But That's not the case. Firstly, Vyasa said, these rishis go and get married, have lineage. Why? Because after you, you will die, your body will go. Somebody have to propagate this Veda. Let your sons propagate the Veda. Now, what about the daughters? They can also study and propagate. But they have to be married, right? Now, if these Bailers or Jaimini or these 4 gurus are having a schools, Mata, Pita, Guru, Daiva. So Guru is like a father. So all the students come and learn or become Sakotras, Gotrams. They are all the same Gotras. So let them, Rigveda, Parampara comes through, a Gotra comes through, different sutras come through. When the daughter is given married to somebody else, called Kanyadha, because the girl is going to carry the lineage of somebody else. So having a daughter is a Mahapunyam, because you do the biggest sacrifice of giving your lineage to somebody else. So there is no such son-daughter disparity in those days, but there is a purpose for it. So it comes through like that. Then in each Shaga, what happened in Shaga, there are different kinds of text. You need to understand it so that you can put the context of Isopanishad. This text in the Vedas, some part is called Samhita. Samhita means mantra. They are the Apurusheya. No attribution given to the rishis except for the seers. It is what is there all the time. So mantras are the most reverential part of this Vedas. Everything is reverential, but this is the most one. Samhitas or mantras. Then the samhitas or mantras had to be applied. So they mapped that to the lifestyle. The brahmachari, you learn samhita. You learn, understand mantra, because you need to maintain the purity of mantras. Please learn. When you're young, you learn it because it goes into your mind. Learn all the time. But the mantras have to be applied. Prayogam has to be there. The prayoga adhikaram is not given to the brahmacharis. You need to get married. Only the grihastha can apply these mantras to get all the prosperities that you seek for. That's why, you can't see a Purohit who is not married has got the right to come and do certain karmas. In some of the temples, you can't even see a Shivacharya who is a brahmachari. You go through this. Now, where is this mantra prayoga vidhi? It is in the second part of this Vedas called Brahmanas. Brahmanas are largely the application of mantras. Therefore, it expands. It is largely in a prose form. So mantras are expanded into meanings and applications, rules. Therefore, Brahmanas are largely applied to rituals. Right? Now, that's fine. So the family life has to go. If you're married, if you do rituals, I need oblations, I need habits, I need prosperity, riches. Go and work. Oh, you are a full-time Vedic scholar. Okay, you don't work. You just teach. Let somebody pay for you. So they say, who else can do the society? These guys are doing a good job. Then people came. I am a trader. I will help them out. I am a king. I protect them. I am a worker. I will give them that. So this class of people who are the Vedic scholars had a simple life to lead, and their needs are attended by others. Therefore, these Brahmanas have taken up the responsibility to be in servitude to everybody else. So Brahmanas are not the top of the chain. They are the bottom of the chain so that they serve everybody else. They are top because they carry the knowledge, supreme knowledge. They are in the bottom because they have the most conditions of leading a simple life. Life goes on. We do rituals. We do all this. Veda gives you a lot of things to attain. Anything you want to attain, you can attain through mantras and yuktis, in addition to your worldly affairs. But there comes a point, well, all this is not the core of Vedas. Vedas are going to give you what the Pratyaksha Pramanam is not going to give you. Anumana Pramanam is not going to give it to you. Atmajnanam is going to give you. Mukti is going to give you. So it prepares you then to both sort. The brahmachari, who may or may not go through the family life, he gets old, he gets experience of life, he has done his duty to the world. What's the point of I getting liberation at the age of 6 and go away? No, I take an embodiment, let me serve this world. I do all that. So I come to the stage where I need to think about my redemption. So is the family man. I've done my worked, I made money, children are get married, I retire now. These days, we keep on working until 70, 80, 90 years, missing out on important opportunity. Sooner you retire, sooner you come back to this vanaprastham. So Vedas gives you a third part called Aranyakam. This Aranyakam is a part that means you dwell in the woods. It means dwell in solitude. Not going away from anything, unattached from anything else. What do I have to do? Because this jnanam, which I'm going to get about myself from Vedas, or in fact Vedantas, the end of it, I need my instruments, my faculty of perception, reading, understanding to be better. In all this life, I had a different misconception about myself. Adhyasam is there. I have blemish in my mind. So what do I have to do? Luckily, because in the brahmacharya, I've been told, be good, try to practice karma yoga. So I've been doing seva, I'm doing some prayers, I do all this. So therefore, my mind is getting purer and purer, but still there is blemish. But it never stays in place. I like to be fasting on a Ekadashi day, but when I'm sitting there and I'm not praying to God, I'm fasting all right. The whole day I don't eat. Fine, my body is avoiding food, my mind is everywhere. So I need to get chitta shuddhi and dhrida buddhi. Ekagram I need. What do? Vedas therefore gives you the next part called upasana. So it is injecting different upasanas. Okay, you want that one? Fine. Imagine, you are used to imagining things. You are used to taking wrong ideas, right? You are used to do superimposition of things. Let you use the same technique that you have. Put this pratibam, Narayana, Vishnu, Shivalingam, Shishakram, Agni, Vayu, any lingam, anything, any pratigam you take it, any symbol you take, worship. Spend your time more and more worship. So upasana comes in. Then your mind start moving, when you start really now looking at the words, the swara shabdam is fine. Now you are looking at a part of the text, which is where the swaram is not important. It's not even recited with swara. You should not even recite in karmas. We'll talk about it when you look at the Shankara Bhashyam. But there is a part of the Vedas just glittering in front of you with the paradoxical language, making you completely upside down of all your thinking and telling you, this is it. This is Upanishad. Normally in the last part of each shaka. Andam means end. Also it's called Siras, the crown. You always the best is the end, right? It's also core. So what the Veda has done so far, in fact, they say there are 100,000 mantras are there in Vedas, roughly around that. 80% of it is all about karmas, rituals. 80% of it. 80,000 mantras are rituals. Around 16,000 are for upasanas. Around 4,000 are in the Vedantas. They are spread around the 108. In fact, if you look at it, if you say 1,180 shakas, in each shaka got an Upanishad, you must have 1,180 Upanishad, you must have. But things are lost. Sri Rama tells Anjaneya in Muktikopa Upanishad, 10 Upanishad. Isha Kena Katopa. Isha was the first Upanishad. So now you understand. So who understand this Upanishad? If you map to the Varnashrama Ashramam, Brahmacharya on the Mantram, Brahmanas the Grihasthamam, Upanyasam when you come to the Varnashrama, Vanaprastham. Therefore, Sannyasam is the Upanishad. Can that sometimes people take literal meaning of it and they impose conditions. So therefore they say, oh, if you're not wearing this kavi dress, we don't renunciate. If you are still in the family life, don't touch Upanishad. You should not do that. That is not the case. The dress is not sannyasam. Nyasam is giving up completely. Sannyasam is completely giving up. Janaka, the king, was Ramachandramurti is a great sannyasi. Bhagavan Krishna is a sannyasi, unattached. It's not also, I remember when Mahatma was telling me many years back, and so when he was in Rishikesh, when he was learning all this from different gurus, and it's very difficult to do. See, by the way, when we are talking about Upanishads and all this, my saying, this person saying is like a blabbering of a child, right? Child blabbers, you may not comprehend it, but you allow it, right? So that's how I take it. I go with a lot of fear and dread in talking to you about the little I know, because it is such a profound, because the work done by great jnanis and seers, it's quite easy today, right? You can go to internet on an air-conditioned room, touch a few buttons, and there are a lot of text come through. You can read through it, understand, and talk and bring. You are standing on so many people's shoulders. You don't understand it. When it comes free, you think it is cheap. How many people? Bhagavan Shankara, when he was writing this, he was writing the palm leaves, right? He must have written palm leaves. And he had to preserve it. So he writes so many things. He carries all these things, travel around, all these shishyas. For who? For our benefit. What a burden. And all these sadhus who go there to great jnanis and Guru Parampara, when they learn, sitting in the Himalayan mountains, in the snow, on the tread, no food. Like this sadhu was saying, the bread will come like a dry brick, it'll scratch your throat if you don't eat. So they dip in the Ganges water, make it soft, and then they eat it. For why? Why they do? Because they want to bring all that to us. So when we do this one, when we discuss Upanishad, it's not a pravachanam. Pravachanam is giving a discourse, lectures. It's not a pravachanam. If there is no manolaya, manoranchitam, there's no kind of a storytelling. It's not a bhajan. It's not a bhajanamrita. It's not to please your mind. You hear, then you become so happy. No. That's why you don't get a lot of people listening to Upanishad, because here it is not about enjoyment. Enjoyment is an experience. Experience end. The experience, like when I think it's a Pujya Sri Dayananda Saraswati Swamiji said once, when the experience ends, there are two things waiting for you to put you in the trap. Who? The world and your mind. Because when you're experiencing something very intrinsically, you miss everything else, like a deep sleep. When you get up, they come and catch you. So experience the end. But here, The Shravanam is very, anyway, I just wanted to say that we approach it with very great care. So the Upanishad becomes part of the Aranyakam or end of the Vedas. So we saw in the last class what is the meaning of it. We want to go back to this one. But this Isha Upanishad, this is the first of the 10 Upanishads. Bhagavan Shankara also start with this Upanishad to give the Bhashya. See, for all this Paramaguru is Vedavyasa. Now I told you in the last class or first class, Vedavyas Guruji asked Jaimini to write, when the disciples are reciting it to maintain it in the mind. And then it's a shortcut to remember all this meaning of it. For all the Dharma Sutram, Jaimini addresses all those part of the rituals. Then Brahmarshi Vedavyas wrote Brahma Sutram. The Brahma Sutram is the ultimate reference point for all the Bhashyams of everybody else. I learned from many places, and normally people don't take this Upanishad, Isavasya Upanishad, Isopanishad or Isavasya Upanishad. Doesn't matter how you say it. They don't take it because it's a bit difficult to understand. Some don't even include in their regular reading of it. But as per Shankara Bhashya, this is the first to be taken because Rama said so, Shankara did so. And it is complex is better because when you come to climb the mountain, the first few hundred yards are much better because you come with full energy. You apply all this. So you need gradual relaxation and you climb rather than gradual pressure, right? So if you can survive this Isopanishad class for the next few weeks, and then that means you are better off. Others will be easy. So that's one thing. But also it gives you a context. We will see how. So it's beautiful. So a little bit more story just to get that. This Isha Upanishad is in Yajurvedam. It is one of those shakas of Yajurvedam, but it's called Shukla Yajurvedam. So what is Shukla Yajurvedam? So even though there are only 4 Vedas, Yajurvedam has got 2 names, Shukla Yajurvedam and Krishna Yajurvedam. So normally in South India, Krishna Yajurvedam is practiced. Normally I say, but in the North India, Shukla Yajurvedam, but a lot of overlaps there. So the history behind this is about one of the greatest Mahatmas, the advocate of Advaitam from the Vedanta in the Purva-Mimamsika days is Yajnavalkya. So Yajnavalkya is the disciple of Bhagavan Vaishampayana. Of course, you can go and read about him in the books. I briefly, just to the context, Yajnavalkya is avatara of Brahma, and he was a master. He learned all the Vedas and he was through. But when you have a lot of Vidya, you have Vinayam takes backseat. So the Garvam is there. So the Vaishampayana, as the ritual of every day, either himself or one of his disciples will go to the palace of the king in the morning. So Mangal Shashanam and Swasthivachanam will be spoken by the priest to bless the king. So one day he sent Yajnavalkya to the palace. Yajnavalkya goes there, young man with Akshada, he goes there on time. The king hasn't come to the palace. He waits for a few minutes and he's not there. He said, why should I wait? So he blesses the throne and throws the Akshada. He comes back. The king comes back, with a lot of regret that he was late. He goes to the palace and see the throne. The throne, you see the grains have flourished. The paddy is grown. It is fertile. I said, what happened? The God say, a young sannyasi came in and he just threw this thing and came. So he realizes, how can akshada, is a rice, is a dried husk-free rice, how can it grow? That means he must be a Mahatma. So he asked the God to go and fetch him back to the palace. So gods go to the Vaishambhayana, and Vaishambhayana realizes something happened. So this naughty student has done something, and he says, why did you do this? So you don't follow my advice. You cannot express your powers like this. So give back whatever I taught you. Of course, the Guru says this because he wants to bring his Mahatvam to other disciples. So Yajnavalkya symbolically throws all those things he learned. And he says in one go, bringing everything from his gut, because it's where the Uchcharanam is from the guttural one. It has to come from the Nadikala. So all the phlegm, blood, everything comes out like a puke. He puked out. And so it is messed everywhere. So Vaishambhayana realizes, oh, this will go waste. Nobody else has got this knowledge like this. So he tells all the disciples, consume this. Go, consume it. More than the honey that you get from the flower, the honey you get from the bee is better. Because what the bee does, bee goes and picks up all the best part everywhere, enjoys it, and then brings it out. That's why any great summary, Bhashyam is called the honey, tain, nectar. So these disciples become a little bird called Titri. Titri is a ash birds, little birds. They make a lot of noise. So the Titri birds act like they go and then pick up all those things, eat everything. Because they eat randomly, and then they become a disciple again, and when they are reciting it, it was beautiful, but there is not much coherence. It's all mixed and matched. That grayness, darkness is called Krishna Yajurveda. So that tradition that followed is called Krishna Yajurveda. So what happened to Yajnavalkya? He has given up everything. So he does namaskaram to the Guru, and then he walks and look at this Savita, look at this sun God, and prays to him. God, give me an Ajurvedam that is not being told to anybody else. I want to have it. Because he has been given, Guru has given him Ajurveda custodian, so he needs to get it. So the sun God, because he started rising this from the dawn, the early days. So the sun God on the horse, he comes on the noon time in the form of a horse. He comes and imparts Ajurveda. It's called Vajaseyam. Vaja means horse. So the Vajaseyam, what is called a Madhyani, because it's done in the noon time. So that Ajurvedam which Yajnavalkya dissipated or propagated to his disciples is called Shukla Yajurveda. So there are two Yajurvedas. So of course, Yajnavalkya's contribution to Vedas and Tattva Vishayas, Bhashyas are many, many. There's also a Yajnavalkya Smriti, talks about income tax payment, policing, all the stuff. Scholars say it is not the same Yajnavalkya because their times are different. We will not go into that kind of research. So the Yajnavalkya in the Vedas, main contribution is in the Brahmanam and the Brihadaranya Upanishad. So where does the Isha Upanishad sit? The Isha Upanishad is in the Shukla Yajurveda. It is in the last shaka of the Aranyaka with 18 verses. And because it is in the Samhita part, it is last part of the Samhita part, not in the Aranyaka, It doesn't, generally they say Upanishad is the end of it. It doesn't mean it's the end of the book. It's the end of each section, the end of It can be end of the Samhita part, it can be end of the Brahmana part, it can be end of the Aranyaka part. So Isopanishad is a Mantropanishad. Because it's a Mantropanishad, it's all mantram. But mantrams are for rituals only. We will see, maybe we'll see in the next class. And we'll start with the Avatarika of Shankara, that it is not for karma. You'll see that. But it also appears in a different thing. There are two shakas, Kanva Shaka and Madhyantina Shaka. Kanva Rishi's Shaka is Kanva Shaka. And that is one text, apparently. And that is what normally is recited. That's what Shankara has given. So we are taking that order. Madhyantika Shaka is another Shaka where the same Upanishad is there, but no difference in text, but the order of these verses are different. So when we are learning as per Shankara Bhashya, we are learning from the Kanva Rishi's. All this is not necessary. We just want to give you a context of it. Now, are we therefore qualified to listen to this? Well, we are learning, right? We are learning, qualified to listen to this on the understanding that none of us are doing Veda Dhyana, none of us are going through the Guru Parampara. But therefore, we are trying to understand the sanctity of it. Therefore, what we may get out of this learning is some knowledge, some understanding. If you are blessed, maybe some anubhavam, some experience of this happiness. But the anubhuti is you need God's grace. Bhagavan Ramana did not go through any of those parampara education. But maybe he had all along in many janmas. So who knows who we were, what we were. So now we have an interest to learn, interest to hear. So therefore we go with the extreme humility that maybe I'm not qualified to hear. What does it mean qualified to hear? Because it's a surgical knife. I'm not able to hold it. It can cut on both sides. Therefore I'll be very careful. Therefore let's have vinayam on it. But don't have guilt. That's what I'm saying. Don't have guilt. You know, sometimes I say this because some wrote to me, are we supposed to learn this one? No, don't have a guilt. But you are not going to prayogam this, but we need to understand it. It's going to propel us to learn more. That's fine. And therefore, this is called a jnana yagyam. You know, yagyam, dhanam, tabam, yagyam, or the three part. Dhanam is giving away, sacrifice that you do in your karma yogam. Right? Tapas is penance that you do in upasana. I'm just giving the difference just to give you a placement. You know, there's no distinction like this. Yagyam is both in karma and upasana as an act. Upasana also a karma. When you do sandhya vandanam, when you do the puja, it's a karma. But there is a jnana yagyam and a dravya yagyam. You know, when you do recently we did the Maharutra Jaba Yagyam. We put a lot of things into the fire. Dravyam, we collected things, flowers, you know, in a great yagyam they do, you know, vastrams, gold, coins, everything we do. A symbolic of sacrificing the pleasures of life we enjoy. I enjoy, you enjoy. Oh, Devas, you sustain rain, you sustain the earth. Let you have this oblation. I share mine to you. And they are happy, they give you good rain for you. So that cycle goes on. This is right. This is allowed and agreed because the world has to sustain, the mithya has to sustain, the family life has to sustain, lineage have to come, people have to live. Happiness and sadness have to be in balance. This is dharma. So yajnam need to be there. Dravya yajnam need to be there. But when you do that also, there is, some of us also contemplate on this. What is this mantra? What does it mean? What is Rudra's arrow. Why is gods are depicted as with weapons? Are they going to hurt us? Then we understand, no, they distribute our karma palas. The sharper the pain, cruel our karma pala. If they put garland on my head, my karma pala is punya. So I have to de-sharpen the weapons. What do I have to do? So the vicharam comes in. So when you do vicharam in all this yajna, it becomes a jnana yajna. How do you do the vicharam? You can't do vicharam just like that unless you are blessed. You have to have shravanam. You must listen. So jnana yajnam has got 3 steps. Shravanam is padajanya jnana. Padajanya jnana. The meaning coming out of the words, like we are going to do. Every word, sakana, vabatu, what is that? Sahana, now what is that? We are going to go through the meaning of this. You take the meaning. Then what do you do? So for this, what do you need to take the meaning? You need only one thing, nothing else you need. You don't need any knowledge. You don't need to know Sanskrit. You don't need to know Vedas. What you need is Shraddha. What is Shraddha means? Shraddha means this is something which is a treasure. I don't understand it, but I'm going to take it. I don't have the key to unlock the treasure box, but I know it's a treasure box, I take it. So that's Shraddha, Shravanam. Then you use Yukti. Whatever you have learned, you using a Yukti, you try to find Tattva Nirnaya. What is that all these words mean? The words say, you are the God. That's the Tattva. How can I be God? So now I do use my intellectual capacity, my experiences. I do contemplation. It's called Manana. This is not a karma. This is the Jnana Yoga. You contemplate. Then I said, okay, I go back to the preceptor, guru, or the Sagadharmani, Sahi, Saha. You go and talk to them and say, what do you think? How do you think? You discuss. You know, it's not like a prayer, then you pray to yourself and go away, carry in your mind. No, it is to discuss, ask questions, listen, manana. Then, it dawns to me, it is this. I hold on to it. Then you do that Tattvartha Sangarshana. That I understood, that is it. And it may slip away from me, I hold on to it. Sangarshana. That's called Nididhyasana. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. I've told it many times, I repeat it because it's very important. So when you are doing this, you are doing a jnana yajnam. It is not spending some time in a satsang, pass the time, record on the WhatsApp, look at the message, it comes on a YouTube, I can listen to later. Don't do that. Get it into mind. And then you must do, when you finish this session, you must think about at least a couple of things that you heard in your mind a few times. Think about it. In the next 1 to 2 hours, you should think about that. Then in the next 3 days, you bring it back into memory and say, ask questions to yourself. That is Mananam. The cycle continues. Shravanam, Mananam, Shravanam, Shravanam, Mananam. At some stage, I got that one. Hold on to it. Nididhyasana. That's the only way. You see, once you get into this groove, otherwise what will happen? It's an intellectual bore. You know, this Mahatma was saying when he was listening to this, you know, in this cold winter and the hot summer in Rishikesh, it's a headache, you know, rope, snake rope, and Gadhakasham, Akasham, all this dry subject, it's painful. He said, I'd rather go run to Mathura where I do Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Bhajan, it's Ganamrutam. And he stays there for some time, and this is singing. It's fine, but my intellect is burning. It comes back here. So you see, when those mukshus are doing that, who are we? We'll also have this kind of oscillation. Oh, Vedanta is boring. Let me go to the Namasankirtanam and listen to this because my time is spent. Time is spent. What happened, like Swami Dayanandaji said, when that good times, when the experience ends, these monkeys of the world and your mind jumps on you to go somewhere else. Because that experience doesn't last long. You need to do Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. So that's what we need to do. So with that, we'll start into the Isopanishad. Let me see what's the time. Okay, I'll just say a few words, then I'll go next week. So it is 18 mantras. We're going to start with the Shanti Pada. The Shanti Pada here is Purnamada Purnamidam. I think we spent a lot of time on that before, but we'll go through one more time. But what is Shanti Pada? Shanti, Shanti means, generally say peace. It comes in different meaning. Contextually, you should take it. Enabler is a facilitator, it's a giver, it's a bestower of grace, it is peace, so many ways. It's simply a prayer, Upanishad prayer. Why it is different from anything else? When you pray, when do you pray? Normally we pray, unless the parents have taught us from young age to pray every day. We pray when you have some faith in God and you have a problem. Oh my God, I got diabetic now. God, help me. We eat all the stuff and we blame God, but it doesn't matter. Oh God, the exam is coming. My hands are sweating. Help me. Oh God, I bought the lottery ticket. Get me the money. So we pray for when there is a problem. We pray when you want something. Then what happens? When this is achieved, say the disease is gone, you pass the exam, then what you could do, if you are grateful, you will thank the God. So you do a homo, you do an abhishek, you crack coconuts. Okay, it's a transactional prayer, but it doesn't matter, it's a prayer. So all these three are the nominal prayers we do at the lowest form. Then we say, I don't need anything. I just pray to God by worshiping God. If I don't need anything, I can't ask anything. If I'm not asking anything, God is not giving me anything special for me. Therefore, I don't need to thank Him for that particular opportunity of getting something. I don't do a prayaschitta prarthana. So therefore, what do? I just praise, oh God, you are beautiful. Your eyes are so nice. Your feet are so nice. It's a flubbery feet. Let me hold on to it all the time. So you do. So this becomes a much better, purified one. That's why when you do Namasankirtanam, it's not a ritual of prayer. It's not like you just sing the glory of God. But then you sing the glory of God. Okay, I come there. I come to the thing. My Ishta Devata is Mata Saraswati. I come to this bhajan and it's very Vishnumayam, Mahalakshmi Stuti, Vishnu Stuti. They didn't sing Saraswati Stotra. I get upset. So because I have an imagination about my God. So even though it's a prayer, that prayer is not fulfilling because there is some impediments, control I have. Therefore, instead of even praising the God of that particular form, particular name, if you don't have a name, how do you call the God? Rama, Krishna, Muruga, Saraswati. If I don't use the name, what is a God name? If you don't use the name for me, you don't call me Raja, what do you call me? What do I say about myself? What do you say about yourself? We have a common name called Aham, Nan. Your name is Aham, my name is Aham. But you superimpose on it Balaji, Balamama. All this you superimpose. Aham is your name. Aham is my name. So we have the same name because we are the same person. We are going to Talk about it later. So same way, Ishvara is a name, or Om is a name. Pranavam. Om is a Shabdam. So I do Omkara Bhajan. Oh, I can't do Omkara Bhajan. You see, you elevate yourself to do that. So, but therefore I can simply say, I'm not going to price anything. I'm going to declare the truth statement. Because I don't know how to pray. I don't know what name to give, what form to give. So God, you are super. You are Purnam, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnatvash. I'm not worshipping you. I'm not asking anything. I'm just describing you as I know you. I'm describing the truth. See? Just saying the truth becomes a Shanti part. Of course, there are some like Sakana Vavadu, Sakana Punattu, Sakaviryam, Garava Vagai. This one we say this is the Shantipada of Krishna Yajurveda. It's a prayer. Let you and I pray, let you and I get nourishment, let you and I is a Guru and Sishya. So there is a prayer, there is something being asked for. That is also there. And there are certain mantras where you want a Bhatram Dharne Vishnu. So let my ears hear good things, let my eyes see good things. Isavasya Upanishad, Veda, Shantipada. So there are different Shantipadas I'm asking for. When they ask for something, they ask not for your Laukika life, they ask for your faculty to be good, to pursue the Shravana Manana Nidhyasana. That is allowed. That is supreme. Or I don't even ask, I just state the truth. That itself is a prayer. So the Shantipada of Shukla Yajurveda is Purnamata, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate. And this is, again, if you look at it, I mean, okay, I'm just finishing this today, so maybe in the next class we'll do that. We start with this, I promise you we'll get into the text, not still dallying around, but you see, this is why, you know, when you go to the boxing class, when you want to learn it, the boxer, and if you are in a reasonable age, and the boxing coach will say, okay, let me see how you punch it. He put a thing there, show me how you punch it. So you see how they are, and he will not teach you any moves. He'll ask you to punch a bag, and he tried to see you how well you can, hands can rise, things like that. He tests you in the end and the beginning of it. That's how the Shantipada is. The Shantipada we're going to see is Vedanta Sara. So it will either break you or make you. You will say, okay, look, even the Shantipada, the prayer is going to be such a difficult one. My God, what am I going to do? You can take that way. Or you can say, this is so exciting. It's so revealing. It's so astounding. Because it is inverting everything else. See, the thing is, 4,000 mantras are for the Upanishad. Only 4,000 mantras. But only there are 4 Mahavakyas is enough. Just 4 phrases is enough. Your one phrase is enough. So the truth cannot be, it doesn't require a chapter and a verse to explain. But to prepare to accept the truth, you need a chapter and a verse. That's what happened here. So we would just recite this Shantipada today to close it, but we will start from next class. No more introduction. We just go through straight into the Shantipada and to the next part. You could join me to say this. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnamudachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnamevavasishyate
Purnamevavasishyate
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Tassate.
Hari Om Tatsat.
Tatsat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajay sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.